Read that again? Launch control. I gotta hold the gas and the brake at the same time in a busy intersection. I'll take that gamble. Oh,
you gotta shift.
oh, I forgot about that. Oh, yeah, I f***ed up. It was in manual mode. I forgot the shift. But keep watching. See what happens when I get it right. Welcome to Miracle Whips. You know what this show is about. You guys watched every other episode, right? Right? All right. One car every day for the rest of your life. I'm on that search.
We've given him so many cars, and I think I've done it. R35 GTR. It's fast, it's comfortable, it's got amenities. I think this might be his Miracle Whip.
When that door opened and James first pulls that car in, whoa. The Nissan GTR is one of the most sought after sports cars to ever come out of Japan. When that hand-built motor, Motorborn, comes together with that super advanced driving software, it makes a combined 545 horsepower that makes this feel like you're in a video game when you're behind the wheel. You know what, I can't even tell you if it's a dream car or not, because never in my wildest dream I think I'll be sitting behind the wheel of a Nissan GTR. And I've had some wild dreams. That's why I can't go to a PetSmart no more. I'm practicing. There's gonna be a lot of this today, you know what I mean? This car was one of the fastest cars in the world when it came out. The world. That's big. You need a passport. Miracle Whips. This is what it's about. And you know what color it is? The color of mayonnaise, baby. The trunk is huge. I can get inside. Echo, echo, echo. But the carpet's so comfortable, you be calm when you get out. Like, why'd you kidnap me? The exhaust tips are massive. They can eat a fist. Look at that. Even the seat move fast. You know this car fast. Woo! Front to back in a whopping 12 seconds. Man, can you imagine riding this? Look where the glass is. My forehead is on the glass. This is scary. The leather's so comfortable, it made me think about animal rights. What is it made out of, a panda? It's not a Skyline, but it's a Skyline. To be honest with y'all, I thought only rich tech guy drove this car. I wouldn't let me drive this car. They don't let the wrong brother inside this thing. We checked it out, we ran around the car. It's modern, we get it. We gotta drive this. When I first put my foot down, whoa, shit. So I just went from 0 to 20 in 2 seconds, and my neck got tight a little bit. When I hit the brakes, I still got to give this car some room too. Ooh, it sounds like a monster though, man. I'm still holding it like I'm nervous, but there's nothing to be nervous about really. This turned me into an old man. Second, god damn. Hold on, check this out. This car is perfect for a family with kids that don't want to be still, because you could just be like, sit your ass back. Even the dog will be back like, I wish all y'all was in this tiny ass back seat right now. It's like you racing trying to get your pregnant girlfriend to the hospital. Move! Move! I finally get to unleash this car on the freeway. I can't lie. This thing is scary. This car got 220 on the dash. No weird rattles or nothing. This is amazing. My adrenaline is high right now. It's like your friend with that crazy ass dog. I'm scared, but he's calm. The car is the calmest thing. The car is calm. I've done a little research on this car. The people who designed the Gauge designed the video game, the Gran Turismo video game. So that's why the Gauges have a striking video game appeal to them, you know what I mean? I mean, they're fun to look at, but I mean, this car's so fast, you really gotta look at the road, you know? Is it a date car? Of course it is. There's only a few metrics I use to determine whether I should own a car or not. Could I take my girl out in this car? Could I take my mom out to lunch in this car? But if I took my mom out to lunch in this car, my mom would literally throw up everything she just eat. Even though all these controls, they look real sick, it's kind of complicated. It's something that says COMF, which could mean comfort, or it could mean, come on, hit the gas. Most rockets got that one switch that you hit when gets real. This car got 3. First switch controls your shift point. You got one for normal mode, which is everyday driving, and then you got another, which is R, for performance mode. The second switch is for suspension. Now you have the normal mode, like me sitting in this chair, relaxed, and then you have the R mode. Very important, we have VDC, which is the vehicle dynamic control. This controls all the power that's going to all 4 wheels. So basically what I'm trying to say in a nutshell, this is with all the switches off. Oh, okay. And this is with all the switches in R mode with launch control. Y'all ready? Launch control. Sequence. 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Should I go back and do it over again? Yeah, we should go back. It's definitely way more aggressive. However aggressive it was then, you gotta multiply that now. This car is in Hungry Hungry Hippo mode. Driving this car makes me feel so in tune. You just along for the ride, you know, at this point. It's handling every part of the road like a beast. And it's all-wheel drive, so it's going uphill like a monster. I mean, every dip, you feel it, like the car's hugging the road. This is beautiful. Speaking of Gran Turismo, and you feel like you're in the game, as cars whiz by you, you know what I mean? Something within you is like harder, faster. YOLO! It's different when there's no cars in front of you and you drive this bitch. And the suspension is set to like stiff. Like it's not in comfort mode no more. And as you can tell, this car goes. When you turn, it's just throwing that ass around. Whoa! That part was dangerous. Sometimes you do these blind curves and a car just come close to you, you like, whoa, it's like being on a roller coaster and feeling like you're gonna hit the pole, you know? But that's a part of it, you know what I mean? How's that for you?
Oh, for me? When I saw those 2 cars come around, I was like, oh.
We do it. First impression with the car, to me, looks can be deceiving, and it's definitely deceiving in this car. This is a preacher's daughter right here. It's calm, it's reserved on the outside, it's quiet. But once you get inside, it's a freak. 3 concerns about the car, and it might just be concerns about myself. The only people that's gonna compliment you on this car are people that know about this car. Self-control, or will I have enough self-control to keep it in automatic calm mode, or will I always wanna drive it on beast mode? Another concern, I probably can't work on this car myself. That's a major concern for me. I don't wanna be broke down on the side of the road. Like, look where we at. You need a helicopter to rescue people out here. At this moment, can I see myself driving this car for the rest of my life? Does this car match my personality? Does it matches my crazy outfits that I wear sometimes? How much is it again? Driving back, a lot of things started to hit me. Oh, when you drive this car, it brings out a slightly aggressive part. This car is an enabler. Go ahead, Byron. Hit the gas a little harder. Whoa. Oh. Compared to the R32, the turbo lag on here is non-existent. This car actually pulls 1G when you accelerate. And if you don't know what 1G is, it's this. All-wheel drive in the mountains right now. Look at this. Up a hill. Up a hill. Man, this car makes me irresponsible. It has a mind of its own. Like that friend in middle school that your mom don't want you to hang out with. Why you always over Brad's house hanging out with him? You gonna get in trouble. Is that a problem? Is it a problem? I know his parents keep drugs in the house. Mom, we keep drugs in this house. This shit crazy, sir. Yeah, PlayStation, but hey, this real life. I haven't got any compliments in this car. And those back seats, look at those. Those are for amputees. And the cup holder's too damn big. And even with that all going against it, this is one of the most fun car experiences I've ever had. So, I gotta ask myself, is the Nissan GT-R my miracle whip? It is.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to witness the blessed and totally not weird union of Byron Bowers and a Nissan GT-R. Ladies and gentlemen, Byron Bowers' Miracle Whip.
You think it's running late?
I'll tell you what's happening. Our bank's got a courtroom.
Okay, everybody, show's over. The show is over.
That's the next season.
Oh wow, a white guy with facial hair on a car channel loves manual transmissions. What an original premise. Hold on, hear me out for a minute. I learned to drive in a 1986 Ford Taurus that my grandpa gave me. It had a two-tone paint job and pretty much everything in it broke. It even caught on fire at one point. It had a 5-speed manual and it was fun as hell. But there's a big problem. Manuals are going out of style. In 1992, about 25% of car buyers chose a manual transmission. 20 years go by, and in 2012, that number fell to just 6.8%. In 2018, just 3.5% of buyers drove off the lot with a manual. As a result, car makers started offering less cars with a manual option. In 2012, there were about 117 new cars you could buy with a stick shift. It's not a lot, but not bad. In 2018, that number fell to just 85 cars. Still not great, but it could be worse. And it did get worse. In just 1 year, the number of cars in the 2019 model year that you can get with a manual is just 57. That's a 33% drop. If the trend continues at this rate, manuals could be gone in 2 years. People are not happy about this. You can't go into a comment section of a video about a new car without seeing someone say, would have been better with a manual.
No stick. Would have been better with a manual.
No stick. No stick. No buy.
Bye. I'm gonna find you, Toyota. I'm gonna come into your house and murder your dog. I mean, take the new Supra, the highly anticipated follow-up to the legendary sports car. The Mark IV has a 6-speed, and this new one doesn't. What the hell, Toyota? You want another example? The BMW 330i will not have a stick shift in the US this year. This is sacrilege. Or is it? There's a reason automakers are putting an end to the manual transmission. It kind of sucks. Enter the continuously variable transmission, or CVT. They aren't like other transmissions. They don't really have gears. It's more of a belt drive with 2 pulleys. It's kind of complicated and I'm not that smart, but the main advantages of a CVT are super smooth acceleration and improved fuel economy over any type of transmission. I mean, the Williams F1 team was testing a CVT back in 1993, and that's when they were good. Sorry, that was low. So what would happen if an automaker actually built a sweet car with a manual transmission today like people have been begging for? How about a 4-door sedan with a big V8, comfy seats, undercover sleeper looks, and a 6-speed? Well, that did happen. The Chevrolet SS debuted in the 2014 model year. They took a Holden Commodore from Australia, put some Chevy badges on it, tuned the suspension a little, and pretty much called it good. Critics freaking loved this thing, comparing it to other sports sedans legends like the E39 M5, a car that has been haunting my dreams for months. I want one bad. Anyway, the SS was the stuff enthusiasts had been clamoring for. It had magnetic ride suspension, 415 horsepower, a 6-speed manual, and my favorite, cooled seats. The SS was set to be an instant classic. There's only one problem. Nobody bought one. Over the SS's 4-year production, just 12,860 of them were sold. Just for comparison, Chevy sold nearly 10 times as many Corvettes in the same period of time, while Honda sold 1.4 million Civics. And Ford sold over 3 million F-150s. Long story short, the SS was not a hit. Just for fun, I went on CarMax to find an SS, and to my surprise, there were 3 of them for sale. But none of them had the 6-speed. I cried for half an hour. It doesn't make financial sense for them to build these cars if no one is gonna buy them. That's just business. So, why aren't people buying manuals in the US? What makes this country different from the rest of the world? Besides automatics being smoother, there has to be a good reason, right? There are actually 2. The first is easy, convenience. A lot of you probably daily a manual car, so you know driving stick in heavy traffic is kind of a pain. But if you take your car out on the weekends and hit the canyons, then the crappiness of having to deal with that is just part of the game. But the average person just isn't like that. They'd rather get in their car and listen to Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul podcast and drop me off at baseball practice. The second reason is safety. Now, I used to think that driving stick was the safest method because it limits distractions. It's hard to text and drive if you have to focus on your shifts. I personally believe that driving manual makes you a more focused driver, but it turns out that's not exactly true. A health science study at Jönköping University in Sweden found that older drivers have better reaction times and make less mistakes in cars with automatics. When you combine that with the fact that the age group who buys the most new cars in the US, 35 to 54-year-olds, it's not hard to see why people aren't buying new manuals. Conversely, people aged 16 to 34 buy about half as many new cars as the older group, if they buy a car at all. Companies are going to listen to who gives them money. So new automatics are pretty much better in every way. They're more efficient, safer for old people, and shift super fast. But just because it's better doesn't mean the car is better. There's something about driving stick that makes you feel more connected to the car than an automatic ever could. And I'm not saying this to talk down on auto drivers. If you have fun with your auto, that is totally valid. I've had a lot of fun in automatic cars.
You're only saying that because you drive.
No, that fucking Lamborghini was really fun. But I think a good analogy for driving a manual is surfing. I grew up about half an hour from the beach, but never learned how to surf. But a few years ago, I actually got a lesson and caught a few waves. And that's when I got it. I understood why my friends would wake up at 4:30 in the morning to catch the swell. You're both at the mercy of the ocean and totally connected. It's a truly great feeling. That's what driving stick feels like. If you've never learned, I definitely suggest you get a friend or relative to teach you, because it's the best. So is the manual gonna die? Maybe in new cars. Also, electric is the future, and those cars don't need transmissions, so But as long as gear shifters are around, I'm sure there'll be someone there to shift them.
So, you're thinking about getting a project car. Good, that's great news. But how do you do it? How do you actually do it? Where do you look? How do you find one? Once you find one, then what do? Just go to some guy's house and buy it? Yeah, kind of. Today, we're gonna break down that whole process. We'll show you how to find the right car, how to go inspect it and test drive it. We'll show you how to negotiate and how to actually buy a project car. Kind of like a big old buyer's guide. Come on, let's go. So obviously, I think you should get a Miata, but you don't have to. You can get whatever you like. But listen, especially if this is your first project car, you really want to get something that's going to go smoothly. So I'll give you some criteria for what I think makes for a good first project car. A lot of this is kind of predicated on the production numbers for a given car. If a car is uncommon or rare, you're not going to find very many of them, and you're not going to find that many parts for them. So as far as car shopping goes, these days I use Facebook Marketplace. I really like Craigslist, but nobody seems to post much there anymore, and everybody's on Facebook, so there's a lot of traffic. All right, so let's find some examples. Let's check some different cars to see if they make for a good project. First, let's check something for old Mr. Pumphrey. Check a Mark I Rabbit.
Not good.
Not good. A couple examples. Price isn't too bad. They're definitely all projects. There's only about 3 in all of Southern California right now for sale. Okay, not terrible. Let's see what's out there for parts. There are actually more places still making parts for these than I thought. That's not bad. Not the worst choice for a project car, but not the best either. There's just not that many of them. It'll be tough to find one, but they're still out there. Next, let's look at something I kind of want that I know is a bad idea. How about an old Jaguar XJ? I love these. Ooh, here's an XJ12 for 4,500 bucks. That's the V12. It's a 1990. They didn't make very many of these, and there's only one for sale anywhere around here. So this is a perfect example of a terrible project car. While it seems cool and it's enticing, it's a bad idea. There's no aftermarket support. There's no community around these. They didn't make nearly enough of them, so stay away from stuff like that. Now, let's look for a Miata. Less than 4,500 bucks. So many results. I mean, there's a million examples. Let's check for parts. I bet I know what we'll find. Oh, a million parts everywhere because they made a million Miatas and everybody's working on them. As it turns out, the Miata is a great choice for a project car. Huh. Wow. So another thing that you should check when you're checking out the forums and the Facebook groups and all that stuff, you should check for vehicle-specific buyer's guides. Generally, a forum will have a specific guide to give you an idea what you should look for when you're looking at a specific car. Some cars will have very common issues that you need to be aware of. So before you go look at anything, check for a specific buyer's guide, and that'll arm you with some knowledge. So once you find something that you like, that has a great community, great parts availability, and doesn't seem to be being sold by a scammer, it's time to inquire. So here's a quick list of stuff that you want to make sure you ask right off the bat. Get out a pen, write this down, take some notes. You want to ask about the title. Is it clean and in hand and ready to sign over? What do I mean by clean title? I mean not salvaged or rebuilt. Salvaged or rebuilt title means that at some point during a car's life, the insurance company for that car decided to total it. And that can happen for a number of reasons, whether it's the car actually got into an accident and got mangled, or if it was in a flood, which is always an absolute no, or sometimes maybe it got broken into, some thievery was afoot. So a salvage title in and of itself isn't a definite no. You need to do some research, but in my opinion, it's better to go with a clean title. So anyway, back to things to ask the seller. If you live in a state that requires the title to be notarized, do they have it notarized? Ask about service records. Does the seller have any maintenance history or service records? Do you know how this car has been treated? Has the car been smogged? If you live somewhere that it needs smogged or emission checked, has it been done? Another big one, especially if you're looking for a car that has specific options,